Hey guys, thanks for joining me. This is a video about how to get looser, looser, looser. Get a subject. I've gotten these pansies and I've painted it once and then I've gotten looser and then I've gotten looser. A single subject is so easy to paint 3 times. The other thing that's going to make you looser are the type of brushes that you use. Start off with some smaller brushes, sure, while you're getting to know the subject. And I really love it if you go and grab a flower, pause the video and then come and join me and paint a flower 3 times. I've squeezed out some cobalt, some cadmium yellow light and some quinacridone magenta. Magenta, cobalt and cadmium yellow light. This incredibly beautiful color combination. We've got purples, we've got magentas, we've got yellows, and of course we've got the beautiful green stems. I've divided a piece of ash into 3 columns, and you know, one of the beautiful things about using a quality paper like ash is that both sides of that paper are equally rough textured. It's one of the few papers that do that. Let's start by mixing up a purple. This is magenta and cobalt. It makes the most beautiful purple. Oh, that is absolutely fantastic. Cadmium yellow light. I'm going to put some cobalt there and make a green. It's a very yellowy green, which means add more blue. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 petals, and I'm going to paint them straight on. We've got this beautiful, oh, there's the spider. I've got this beautiful purple, and I'm going to give it little flicks along there. Load up with some of this yellow. And I'm going to paint the yellow next to it. They'll mix, and purple and yellow are fabulous together because they're complementaries. But I don't love the complementary grey that it mixes together. So I'm going to establish the yellow first and then put the purple in. And I'm limiting the amount. There's this beautiful orange triangle just there. I'm limiting the amount that it mixes together. I'm going to stick some of this magenta and a thick version of the purple and place the thicker mix next to the yellow. I am hoping that that thicker mix of purple will mix far more slowly and not just run one into the other. I'm going to add the thick version in there. Okay, that pretty much worked. I need a little yellow to come up to this, but I'm going to leave that till later. Okay, now I'm going to go to the other 2 sides. And there's a beautiful batch of yellow in here, and then I'm going to put that in later too. So it's got like this circle, so I'm going to indicate the circle to remind me of where to paint and where not to paint. There's the purple, and I'm going to get that thicker mix again. Pure blue, a little bit of that magenta, and it's really thick. And then when I run it through, it pretty much stays where you put it. Just going to paint the outside of the petal with water and just bring the purple out. It actually goes under the yellow, but again, I'm not going to touch it. This time I'm going to put the water first. It's harder for you guys to see if I use that method. And put in some purple that comes down to this little circle I've established. And then get some of that really thick mix and drag it out into the wet. And then on the edge there is this beautiful little batch of magenta. I'm just going to get the pink. That spider is still just reappearing every now and again. Oh, there's a beautiful pink over here. Look at that. Oh, and this is looking a bit pinkish. I wonder if I can get away with some pink there. Oh, that's lovely. Right, and some of these have lines too. Lines. Okay, that's going well. Now, this petal over here is kind of a brownish, reddish magenta. So in order to turn my vibrant pink into brown, you add a little of the purple more of the purple, and then an absolute hint of yellow. I'm going to put in some water at the base of the petal, and it gets beautifully dark at the top. It's this same browny purpley colour, and it goes over there, come in and hit that water, and it's quite raggedy. They're really, all of the pansies in this particular pot are raggedy, but they just keep hanging in there. It's been quite extraordinary to see them continuing to bloom and bloom and bloom. And I'm going to pick up some of this pink and see if I can add some stripes in there. And while I'm there, add some to this one. And in the very center, I'm going to pick up pure yellow and drop it in over here. I've got more insects coming onto my paper. It's a little wildlife sanctuary here today. Okay, small exaggeration, I know. Oh, so a little bit of green, because there is a green center there. And let it touch. Now, the value in painting this flower quite specifically, I am taking advantage of watercolor methods, but I'm being quite literal in my painting. And I find what will happen is that on the next one, I'm going to get looser. So I find this a little bit like doing a drawing and taking my time to get the size right and the details right, things like that. I'm going to give it a little stem. And some quick little leaves. There, like that. Come up and out. Some purple in the leaves and some pink in the leaves. Gentle with the leaf shapes. They're quite lovely. So now I'm ready for the second one. And what will happen is that because I've spent my time carefully painting that one, I'm going to be able to get looser on the next one. I've sorted out my colors. I've spent a little bit of time on the shape. And what I want to pick up instead is a much larger brush. This is a Meeden mop brush. I'm going to wet it and this time paint whole petals. All right, and I'm going to go bigger and I'm going to touch the edges. All right, much looser on this version here, instantly looser. I don't have to spend all that time now thinking about the colors. Purple in there and make it mix in, and then there's this beautiful purple bit there, and there's these tiny little dashes, suggestions of purple that go through the yellow. There's no other yellow in the other petals, except possibly there's a little hint of yellow there and there. Okay, I think I'll take advantage of that. I will get a watery batch and give this petal here some yellow and that petal some yellow really fast. I'm going to continue with this larger brush. One of the best things you can do if you want to go looser is get a bigger brush. More cobalt, more magenta, and I want to go back towards purple, so more blue. I'm going to paint over that, and there's these beautiful purple bits there. I'm going to go straight in, and that beautiful purple bit, and then there's an edge to it and an edge to it. I'm going to tidy this up, those beautiful shapes. I'm going to tidy them up, a little bit less water. Tidy them up by just using water, and you get all that beautiful blending. This time I am going to allow the petals to touch. And just do water over there. And then we've got these petals over here. We've got this big, beautiful one, and a dark one over there. And I have already mixed up this brownish reddish colour, but I'm going to make it more purple to put in to that. That's one of the wonderful advantages in using masking tape, is going onto that edge easily. I'm going to make that one look like it's gone over the edge, and I'm touching little bits there. I'm going to get some thicker yellow, thicker, and put it in. Oh, it's about to drip. That's not what I wanted. I wanted thicker, not wetter. And it's got this beautiful dash of yellow here, yellow, yellow, and in the very center is this green. Some of that green extends out this way, this way. All right, it is so much looser and I am enjoying it so much more. This one does look more like a pansy. This one looks less like a pansy, but I don't care. I love when you allow watercolor to do some of the work for you. Let it do some of that beautiful blending. I'm going to grab more of that green, give it a stem. Here's some of the leaves. So they're not too close to, that's where the flower was. That's where the flower was. The leaves are actually quite lowish in terms of the stem. I'm just going to add a little more detail to that stem. And then these leaves go over the stem. And into it I'll add a slightly darker colour, darker green. Maybe I'll pick up some of this blue and drop it directly in. And there's another little tiny one, excuse me, over here. And again, it's got a little dark side. And little tiny cuties over here. Might go back to the yellowy green to put in some delicate little flowers here. Let's make those touch there, and I come back into that blue again. I'm trying so hard to leave little delicate spaces. This stem, for example, it has got a broken line, and it is really, really tempting to come in and fix it up and make it a beautiful line. But sometimes broken lines are more beautiful, more interesting. Already I've gotten beautifully looser. That's the second and third petals. And then into that I just need a touch more purple. If it's darker, then it is thicker, and when it's thicker, it means that when I add it to the wet paint, it will travel at a much slower rate. So I'm adding thick paint into thin paint. I'll put in that little delicate circle so that I know where I'm heading, and the purple comes out of that there, out of that there. And then there's purple on this edge. But I'll go back to the watery version of the petal to complete it. And it's got that raggedy edge. Try and give it that wobbly edge. These touch down here. This one comes out there, goes over like that and wobbles. Wobbles. Now, to add more interest, I'm going to lose this edge here. And maybe I'll lose this edge here as well. I'm just using pure water and allowing it to run around. I won't do that up here yet. Firstly, I've got this petal here that's way more intense. Purple, and adding to that purple some of that yellow. And it just turns the purple into a much more browny looking purple. I'm adding blue because it was too brown. And then we've got this petal that is on the side like this, and it goes up there. And sometimes following the beautiful abstract shapes is so interesting. And then there's a space, or it goes that way. Then there's a space, and we've got this petal in between. But I want these to look quite different. So I'm going to grab some magenta and add it to there. There is some magenta in reality in here, and then I'm going to wash that off. And put in some delicate yellow and join it with some delicate yellow. This one can come down and join there. I'm going to make these join now. Just a pale batch of yellow. Join them, join them. Okay, clean my brush again to come in and grab some of that lovely thick yellow. Right at the base of that lump, I've got some lush, thick yellow paint. There's this, I'm going to intensify the yellow on the petal there firstly. And then there's this little round yellow circle here and here. And in the center is that green, like a green hole. I'm going to join it there. And this is all wet in wet, which means when I come time to do the stem, it goes that way, the stem could come this way, and I've got this beautiful wet one to work with. I'm going to go into the thick cobalt, make a thick green, and re-establish the green with a broken line, and then come in with some of the little leaves. Pale colour, and I want it to go, this leaf to go over. These are all incredibly soft because of the water that I've placed on there. I'm putting purple there purely because I love the idea that you bring some of the colour from up the top down the bottom. Extra little tiny leaves here,